Jean, we lost the audio.
And the video. Every week, what a clusterfuck.
Ron and Jean, we lost the audio.
What
is that better now? I gotta put it on right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So nice.
Yes,
Do you have the audio now?
Yes.
yes.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, it's good playing that live. Sure, you best.
Okay, what is the superpower when you walk the parade that empowers you to keep all kids safe?
Candy. Candy.
Best.
It's the best. Look at this.
You can zip up to keep it warm in the
Yeah.
winter.
Yes, yes,
Got the
yes.
holes in it, and like air goes
Turn
through.
around, turn around, see that.
It's a rotary in the back, right?
Yeah. Eat it.
Put over that.
However, you're not gonna need it because what is the forecast for March 15th?
75 and sunny.
We're going with 70 degrees and sunny. So all these great things that you can do on the parade is really simple, lots of fun. If you can sign up, if you don't know how to sign up, just call me or tell Claudia, because she knows all. We'll get you signed up and all will be well. So thank you very much. It should be a great parade. Thank you, Mr. Model.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Susan. Are there any other brief announcements? Yes, David.
Good morning, Rotary.
Good morning.
Just a reminder to folks that the 9:25 honor flight Rotarian from the district is scheduled to go, still scheduled to go. We're looking for anybody that might have a number would like to submit to be a part of the trip. Go online to the district website. There's an honor flight office area there, and that'll have a direct link to the application, so you can send it in. I don't have anything to do with it other than trying to work with Gary Baker, the district governor, to try and ensure that we get as many veterans that are available that would like to go on the flight. We would like to make them Rotarians to the maximum extent possible, but it's not required. So if you have anybody you think would be interested, come see me and I'll be happy to help you get started.
Thank you. Can we give a round of applause to Ron for his patience and diligence for getting the Zoom meeting started? Peter.
All right, good morning, Rotary. How's everybody doing? So today is Friday, February 21st. It is the 52nd day of the year, just 313 days until New Year's Day. So we have one guest today. It's Joel Kessel, a guest of Michael Schuchter. Joel, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Morning, everyone. Joel Kessel, Kessel Strategies, executive coaching, strategy, and leadership facilitation, primarily for nonprofit organizations. Thanks for having me here.
Welcome. All right, so on this date in history, in 1896, the 1896 World Heavyweight Championship took place between the English boxer Bob Fitzsimmons and the Irish boxer Peter Marr. Fitzsimmons, he was nicknamed Ruby Robert and the, quote, freckled wonder, and he took pride in his lack of scars. He appeared in the ring wearing heavy woolen underwear to conceal the disparity between his trunk and his leg development. The fight, where did it take place? Would it be in the big stadium? Would it be in Madison Square Garden? No, not at all. It took place on a sandbar in the middle of the Rio Grande, just far enough outside the American city of Langtree, Texas, where boxing was illegal. In fact, it was so far outside of Langtree, Texas, it was actually in Mexico. And the fight was promoted by Judge Roy Bean. This judge was a saloon keeper and a local justice of the peace. Fitzgerald won the fight. Sadly, Mr. Fitzsimmons, he died of pneumonia in 1917 after retiring from boxing. It said that because he had 4 wives, a gambling habit, and susceptibility to, quote, confidence tricksters, he did not hold on to the money he made. So that's a interesting story I found as to what happened today in 1896. So that leads to my trivia question for today, which is that in 1938, the Battle of the Century took place between the Hitler and Nazi favorite German boxer Max Schmeling and this American heavyweight championship boxer, which was a rematch of a fight 2 years earlier. Was it A, Jack Johnson, B, Joe Louis, C, Muhammad Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, D, Jack Dempsey, or E, Ezzard Charles? B, Joe Louis. All right, the rest of you, that is $1. So we're going to draw today for small pot is $20. A large pot, I believe, is $4.28. So let's see here. Ron? You.
1900 771900. 771900.
So 771900. 1900 is the last 4 digits.
No,
No, within 2.
All right, Holly. So you want small pot or the chance of the large pot? So the small pot. Okay, great. I'll square you up in a second. And then for the large pot.
771850.
1850. All right, Phil. Okay, great. Congratulations, Phil. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for your help today.
All right, it's my pleasure to introduce Preston Shepherd.
This thing working.
I think we want it down there.
Oh, you want it down there?
Because he's gonna be.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Preston is a dedicated leader in adaptive sports and therapeutic recreation with extensive experience in program management, volunteer coordination, and adaptive sports instruction. Currently serving as program and executive director and chief operating officer at Adaptive Sports Connection. He oversees staff and volunteer management, program development, facilities operation, and strategic planning to enhance accessibility and inclusion in adaptive recreation. Preston holds a Bachelor of Science in Education, specializing in sports industry from The Ohio State University. A U.S. Army Ohio National Guard veteran, Preston brings strong leadership, operational management, and community engagement skills to every role, ensuring impactful, high-quality programming for all participants. Preston, welcome.
Thank you. That was a lot of stuff. I don't know about all of that. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I got a big mouth. I don't usually need a microphone in room this size.
Hey, Gene, what about the people online, sorry?
I've got it here. I think that's, yeah.
Okay. Can y'all hear me online?
It would be
All right, we'll wake
better
y'all up
to use
when
the
we're done.
microphone, but yes, I can hear you.
Good morning. My pleasure to be here. Again, my name is Preston. So Adaptive Sports Connection, fantastic organization, been around this community for 35 plus years. A lot of people have no idea. Formerly known as the Adaptive Adventure Sports Coalition Task. So a lot of folks know us by that name. We transitioned a few years back. I personally have been involved with this organization for about 16 years, off and on. I came to it after my injury, landed in this wheelchair, needed to figure out how to keep doing the things that I love to do. And I found this organization, and that's me right there, teaching one of my little guys how to ski. One of the first things I did was get back to snow skiing. It's one of my all-time favorite things. It's just really a great, I've always enjoyed skiing, and now for me, it's a moment of freedom of movement, right? I can move on a mountain just like everybody else can, and there's very few places in the world that happens. So that is a very happy place for me, and we find that our people love that. But great organization. I'm going to give you some of the boilerplate stuff, and I'm going to read it so I don't mess it up. So our mission is to break through limitations with adaptive innovation, ensuring people of all abilities the health benefits, freedom, and sense of belonging from recreation, education, and outdoor experiences. So again, that's a lot of words to say. We like to go out and have a good time, and we want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity, regardless of their situation, socioeconomic, physical ability, cognitive ability. We want to make sure everybody can get out and have a good time. Our three values: resilience, freedom, collaboration. Again, we work together to help people find resilience, right? So a lot of our folks come to disability through trauma, like myself. We have to learn how to overcome that challenge, right? We reinvent your life. So we help folks with that. We help young folks that grow up with developmental disabilities. We engage with them, and we show them things that they haven't been exposed to. They tend to live very protected lives. Parents, God love them, and for all the right reasons, want to keep those kiddos safe. My thing is set them free within the bounds of safety, right? Give them that sense of freedom that they don't generally get in their life. We get them away from that bubble, and we can do that in a safe way. We provide a variety of activities. You can see a lot of them pictured here. That upper left is our mountain biking program. It's small, but very intense for those who enjoy that type of activity. See our alpine skiing, very popular. We operate at 2 facilities in Ohio, Mad River Mountain over Bell Fountain, and Snow Trails up in Mansfield. We're there every Saturday, January, February, and this year we're going to get all the way to the middle of March, it looks like. So that's exciting for us. So we provide a lot of opportunities there. We do veteran focused programming at Snow Trails on Wednesdays. So we work closely with the VA here in Columbus, and they bring veterans out to us. We just held a big veteran ski weekend event at Snow Trails, where we had on Friday, we had veterans come down from the Cleveland VA, and then Saturday was the Columbus VA. We had about 122 volunteers serve about 35 veterans. 2 93-year-olds and a 95-year-old came out for skiing.
Wow.
Anybody can do it. 97 is my oldest, so I haven't hit that one again yet, but yeah, so very broad spectrum of folks represented there. You also see in the middle up there at the top, that is our amputee soccer program. So we operate that. It's kind of morphing more into an adapted soccer program because the amputee thing was really restrictive. So we run a recreational program, and then we have a partner, someone who works at OSU who has developed a competitive side of that. So folks can come to us, learn those skills, learn how to re-engage in soccer. Maybe they went through an amputation and they were avid soccer players. We have quite a few of those. How to continue to do that thing they love to do, right? The thing that they identify with. If you stop doing the things that you love, you become somebody else, and the people around you will start to not recognize you. And that's where a lot of darkness comes from in disability, because people can't be themselves, or they feel like they can't be themselves anymore. So, and I know for me, my life's work was go fast and make bad choices. I grew up riding motocross. I broke my back when I was riding motocross at 19. I walked away from that one. So like my life has been like on the edge. Right? So if I stopped being that guy just because I landed in the wheelchair, again, my friends wouldn't recognize me. I would become depressed, be angry. So we fight that social isolation by bringing people back out and engaging them in their life again, right? Or maybe they find a new thing. This young lady on the bike here expressing an extreme amount of joy. You guys might recognize her. This is Q. She's on billboards all over town for OSU. Lost her leg through cancer. Was a welder, commercial welder, couldn't do her job anymore. Has completely redirected her life. Started playing wheelchair basketball with the city of Columbus. I met her there. I talked her into coming out and hanging out with us a little bit. She started cycling. You could see the joy on her face. I said, you need to come out and go kayaking with us. She's like, oh no, I'm not a nature girl, I'm a city girl. I'm like, come on out, you'll have fun. She came out, she's now one of our kayaking volunteers. My next mission with her is skiing, because she said she'll never ski. She's scared to death of riding the chairlift. She's not doing it. I'm gonna get her out there. But again, she also joined our soccer program. Her and one of our other players last November went to Columbia, competed in the first women's amputee World Cup of soccer on Team USA. And they came in second. So just a neat story, right? Like her life was the complete opposite of what it is now. And she could not be happier. Everything has changed. She's has a new career. She's helping folks with disabilities find employment through a local organization, right? At just night and day from where she was before. So paddling, of course, we have a very robust kayaking program that we operate right here in the Shawnee Hills area from our property. That's probably our biggest program. We paddle usually 3 days a week, a couple evenings, and then on Saturdays. This year we're venturing out into off-site paddling. We just received an ODNR grant to buy a 20-place kayak trailer, so we can get out and about town. We can get downtown for some underserved communities down there that can't access our location because we're not on the COGA route, so they can't get to us. So we're gonna be able to go to them now. And then this little guy right here, this is one of my favorite programs. I mean, I'm a programming guy and I'm gonna get active and moving and, you know, have fun. But this program is our Bikes to Go program. And while it has gotten a lot of people moving, the impact of it is so much greater. So what we do, we work with therapists from Nationwide Children's, from OSU, from Mount Carmel. They come out, they do evaluations and fittings on young folks that need an adaptive or therapeutic bike. Now, these bikes can be very expensive. The one that this young man is on, that's probably a $3,500 bike. We put them out as much, I think the most expensive one was about $14,000. They're highly specialized, they're kind of one-off, they're built, you know, for the individual. They have a ton of modifications. But so we get them fitted, and then our development team does the fundraising, because most of the families receiving these bikes can't afford them. They're just, the cost of living with disability is so high. You don't have extra money for the fun stuff, right? It's just getting by. So this is a really neat program. We cleared a list in the fall, November, December, put out $150,000 worth of bikes to the community. Most of them are here in the greater Columbus area, a few from the Cleveland, Akron area, because we do work with some hospitals up there. But that's a lot of knees and breeze, right? So I love that. Again, I think it's probably the biggest impact that we have, because these kids now can go for bike rides with their family and their friends and their neighbors. And they come before they were the ones sitting on the porch left behind. So it creates inclusion. Sorry about that. Again, really impactful program. So that's kind of our list of fun-filled activities. And again, we're all about having fun. Being active, being socially engaged, staying fit, staying mentally and physically healthy. So our impact. 44 counties in Ohio last year that we drew participants from for our programming. Either bikes to go, skiing, again, some of that branches out because of that skiing up in Mansfield and over in Bellefontaine. But we're pretty proud of that. That's a pretty significant impact. And in the last year, I have had programs reaching out to me from Michigan, from New York, from Indiana, Perfect North Slopes down there, reaching out, wanting to learn more because we're doing it at a very high level, and they want to elevate their programs because they want a map that looks like this and not just their local town that they're serving, right? And you really need this kind of spread in the disability community because of the numbers, right? And when we're talking about a soccer team of amputees. Okay, that's really specific. So to get enough individuals that qualify for a sport like that, you have to spread out wide, which makes it challenging. A great example of that is the wheelchair softball team, the Pioneers that are housed here in Columbus. The only wheelchair softball team in the state. Right, so if you live in Toledo and you want to play wheelchair softball, you got to drive to Columbus for practice. And then you got to travel all over the country for games because again, there's no other teams locally to play. So it becomes very challenging. It becomes very cost prohibitive for a lot of people. Travel is difficult. Travel is expensive. Folks that need companions not only have to pay for their travel, but their companions travel, right? There's just a lot involved. So the more folks that we can serve here and minimize that travel and get out into their areas, the better for them and the better that we can serve them in a way that suits their needs. So, okay, thanks. At all of our events, we do post-event surveys. We do intake surveys to kind of get a baseline of where folks are at when they come to us. We do post-event surveys, and these surveys were developed with a couple of the doctors from Children's Hospital, actually. One of the gentlemen is on our board. Dr. Napolitano. So we survey all athletes that come out, and we include in our athlete count the family members because they are significantly impacted by the disability and by the great stuff that we offer. So 98% reported improvement in their overall health. Like they just are less medical issues by being more active. 97% reported improvement in overall confidence. The old Disabled Sports USA motto was, if I can do this, I can do anything. Being, okay, I can conquer this fear I had, or this thing I didn't think I could do. That makes anything else in life, going back to work, makes that seem smaller. It seems more doable. So increasing that confidence is really important. 98% reported improvement in physical health. So that's similar to overall health, but they're like physical strength and ability there, balance, coordination, that kind of stuff. 98% reported improvement in sports skills. So we're teaching something, we're doing something right there. 96% reported improvement in mental health. And again, in the disability community, that is big. Social isolation. It's early in the morning, please forgive me. Social isolation is big, which then leads to depression, anger, especially for folks that come to disability through trauma. They tend to be very angry about that. So finding something fun to do, some people around that understand that have lived your similar experience and could be supportive of you too is very important for your mental health. And then 94% reported improvement in social well-being. They made a new friend. They've increased their social interactions because they made a new friend. Well, now they got somebody to go out to dinner with. So instead of sitting at home in front of the TV, they're out with their new friend. We encourage like group outings after programs. So a lot of times after our paddling program, folks will go, someplace and just hang out for a while. And for some of those folks, that's it for them. They go back home to a very lonely life. So again, we feel like, for all of those numbers, 94 being the lowest, we think we're hitting the marks. Always room for improvement. I'd love to see 100 all the way across there. Always strive for more. But again, this really demonstrates the power of what we are offering folks. It's not just having fun. There really is true health benefit to what we offer. So that leads us to this glorious new thing in the neighborhood. So is anybody familiar with our property in Shawnee Hills? Have you been there? And it's rough, right? We've done all we could do over the last 25 years to evict the raccoons from the attic. That was an ongoing challenge for quite a few years. We even had to put a metal roof on because they kept eating through the roof. So it was their house for a long time before it was ours, and they weren't too fond of being evicted. So while that property has served us well, the property will continue to. It is the property itself is owned by Columbus Recreation and Parks. So we just signed a new lease, a long-term lease there, so that we could begin construction on this adventure and wellness lodge. This has been a project that has been going on for a few years. The phase 1 goal of this was $10 million. We are at 9.4. So we are in the home stretch of what we are classifying as the grassroots part of that. We've hit the corporate donors. We've gotten funding from the state, from the city, from all of the big players that we could engage, and we're kind of down to that last little bit, that grassroots. And so we are going to do inside. This right here is kind of the entryway, and there will be a wall of heroes there for folks that have helped us get over that hump. Not to mention some recognition of where we came from and the folks who helped found this organization back in the early 90s, when adaptive sports was not something that people were familiar with. It was very in its infancy back then. So those folks had some clear vision about what they wanted in this community, and how they were going to serve the community. So what this will be, again, Adventure and Wellness Lodge. You can see this kind of a cutout. This will be a big lodge area. We'll host like peer counseling groups. We work with a lot of veterans that want to come in, do veteran specific peer-to-peer stuff, share their stories. So this is just kind of an open space where we can do a variety of things. Leads out onto the patio, which looks, you can see there, and looks out over the water. So that faces Twin Lakes, and looks out over our kayaking area. It will be our main office area for the business, and we'll continue to do all of that paddle programming from this location. So again, we want to engage. I went to an event in Shawnee Hills this year and met some folks, and they're like, wow, we never heard of you guys. I'm like, we've been in your Shawnee Hills, not a big town, right? We've been in this community there for 25 years, a little over 25 years. So a lot of folks say we're the best kept secret in Central Ohio, and I'm here to let the secret out. So again, beautiful facilities. We are working on expansions to accommodate, again, spread our audience. We're working over in New Albany on a project to do some stuff there. There's a Miracle League field, so we're going to do a partnership with them to create kind of a little adapted space next to their to the Miracle League field. We did an event with them, a cross event this past summer. It was fun because I came from therapeutic recreation at the city of Columbus, so I had kids there that they got bikes through our Bikes to Go program. They were my campers at the city of Columbus, and they're on the baseball team for Miracle League, which just kind of exemplifies what a small community it is. And we're serving those same people in a multiple capacities. So we want to provide whatever we can for them. One of our goals this year and with this new project coming is expanding our warrior sports. So again, we do a lot to serve our veterans. We serve our veterans at no cost through a generous grant through the VA. So we are expanding those services to get them more what they want. They've had some unique asks. They want to go magnet fishing. Magnet fishing, okay. Get in the river and hook out a magnet and see what you pull up from the bottom. I'm like, hey, if that's what you guys want to do. We got kayaks, you bring the magnets, let's go, right? So, you know, we will explore anything. We are working on a grant now. We have a grant through Franklin County to work with underserved communities. So we are, again, focusing some efforts there, looking at disability from a different lens, and approaching it from that mental health side of disability. And a lot of young people are disabled by the neighborhood.
You want oat milk?
Or
I have yogurt.
or lack of.
I made it.
Oh, okay, no, I'll have that for this.
Okay, yeah, it's real good.
Those things can create disability for young people. So we're gonna dive into those underserved communities. We're gonna take our program to them. We're gonna load up bikes in the trailer and go to the neighborhoods, the Franklins and the Hilltops, the Southlands, and get to these kids, focused on these kids in these areas that are being left behind. We don't want anybody left behind. So again, it's a big mission. There's a big team. I can't do any of this without the people behind me. So we have a great development team leadership through Sharon, our CEO. We have great programming staff. We have marketing and social media part-time people that are like all over the place, that are keeping our name out there, keeping us, you know, in front of the public. So again, at this point, I will open up if you have any questions for me. Fire away. Yes.
I've been involved with ice hockey in the community for 20, 30 years now. I noticed there's a lot of sled hockey going on. Are you guys, is that part of your program too?
No.
No?
We dipped our toe into that about 20 years ago. And it was a hard lesson to learn, but we got out. And it's kind of been part of our struggle with the soccer program is we don't do team sports and we don't do competition. So we do like foundational recreation based. If you want to take it to that level, we will help, you know, try to guide you to a competitive ski coach or a, you know, a competitive soccer team or something, you know, where you can engage at that level. But we try to just stick, you know, take each individual to the level that they're able to achieve. The team dynamic is challenging. It's very expensive, especially with sled hockey. The gear is very expensive, and it has to be constantly upgraded. So we dipped our toe in it 20 years ago, and eventually ended up throwing away all the gear because again, it became up. We tried to get it to somebody to use it. They said, "Oh, it's obsolete. We don't want it." So we backed back out of that. And there's so many organizations, especially around Columbus, that are doing sled hockey, special hockey, blind hockey, adapted hockey. There's a bunch of versions. So yeah, but we're staying out there. Yeah.
Do you work at all with the Miracle League here? No,
We have not.
because we sponsor it.
We are not opposed to that. But yeah, no.
I can give you the information about it.
That would be great. Yeah. Yeah, we are open to work with, you know, any partner that, you know, aligns with our mission or wants to, you know, help support our mission. It takes a lot of things, you know. So there's HR support, there's, you know, we work with payroll companies, we work with a lot of organizations that contribute to us, you know, as a nonprofit, so that we can do things like this and not have to spend our money on that back end stuff. But so yeah, wide open for partnerships. Yes, sir.
How many volunteers do you work with or need? And can you share a little bit about what that volunteer experience is like?
Yes, so I can tell you exactly, last year. We had 335 unique volunteers. So 335 individuals that gave us 1,821 visits. So 1,821 volunteer experiences by 335 people. That's a lot. And again, we're looking for folks that ski. We're always looking for ski instructors or high-level skiers that we can turn into ski instructors. The volunteer experience, so you go sign up, you have a little orientation. Depending on the sport, you go through the training for that, which we have elevated this year and made mandatory for all instructors. So for skiing this year, it was an online session. It was like an hour and a half, and then a full day at the ski resort on snow training. And then there's specialized skill training that you can do to, become a lead instructor in different disciplines. A little lower bar for paddling and cycling. Obviously a lot more risk involved in skiing. So again, we bring you in, we run you through that training. We are now in the process of developing an online training platform so that all of that stuff lives there all the time, and volunteers can go out and engage in that whenever they choose. And a lot more offerings on there. So we're developing that, and then you show up, you help prep for the day, get the equipment out, get it ready. When our athletes show up, you greet them, you set them up in their equipment, go over, their goals, your lesson plan for the day, what are you going to do? And then you go out and have fun. And then afterwards, come back in, recoup, put stuff away, clean up. And then we always do lesson notes. The volunteers are required to complete lesson notes after programming. So that the next time that individual comes, the next instructor can pick up where they left off. So they don't have to keep starting over and reinventing. So we frequently warn our folks, our volunteers, that it is addictive. So be warned when you start, you will get hooked. And then we also will pay for education. So we have a lot of instructors we pay for, go through PSIA training, which is professional ski instructors. ACA is what we use for our paddle sports, American Canoe Association. So we send folks through those trainings so that they can be that knowledge base for us. Our staff can't cover all of that. So we work on educating everybody. But again, we get a lot of great feedback from our volunteers, and we've got folks that have been around for 20, 30 years. Matter of fact, one of our founders is still actively engaged with the organization like 35 years later. So it must be a good experience.
Preston, thank you so much.
Yes.
We really enjoyed this. Will you be able to stick around and take more questions if people want to come up and engage with you?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Again, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next week, we are not meeting here. We're instead meeting at the Dublin City Council chambers to get an overview of the Metro Center development plans. And I understand we'll have coffee and pastries and things. So again, don't come here. If you come here and it's empty, go to the city council.
Cap's gonna bring some Buckeyes.
Okay, thank you. Our closing quote comes from Muhammad Ali. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Yeah.
Good job.
Well,